Hi, I'm Lara O'Reilly, Senior Editor at Business Insider. We're in the C space at CES, and I am joined by Allie Kline, CMO of AOL. That's a lot of letters and a lot of acronyms there, but we got through it. How are you doing, Allie?
I'm well. How are you?
Fantastic. Very well. Thank you for coming here. So tell me a little bit about why you are at CES, and also what CES means for AOL as a company.
Yeah. So I'm here, and we're here at AOL because CES is kind of the manifestation of both sides of our business, right? So you have the content brands, and particularly our tech brands. This really show up here in TechCrunch and Engadget, as well as Autoblog with all that you see happening with IoT and the automotive industry. But then there's also a huge media, publishing, advertising community here, and we really kick off the year with those partners here. So I'm here to help evangelize both sides of our commitment to building brands people love, both ours and then the ones that our advertisers bring to the table.
And do you tend to launch things at CES? Is that what you do?
Both. We tend to, our editorial brands cover everything that's launching, right?
Yeah.
They're everywhere. Engadget is actually leads the Best of CES Awards, so that's fantastic. But then we also bring a lot of things to market. For example, today we just announced the Brand Builder Suite, which is a new suite of premium advertising formats. We've been devoted actually to building premium ad units for some time, back even 5-6 years ago with the Devil ad suite. And so this is a new way to kind of simplify not only the advertising formats out there, but also offer a very focused set of offerings around awareness, around a direct response, and then an innovation category. And I think if there's one trend we're seeing, particularly coming out of this CES, is that whether you're on that content or the manufacturing side, or you're in the advertising side, the innovation category is something that's not becoming, oh, we're going to dabble here anymore.
Yeah.
It is becoming an integrated part of every marketing strategy. And so that's really exciting for us with our brands, but it's also, I think, one of the biggest early takeaways being 12 hours into CES.
Right. So back to those premium advertising formats then. It's difficult without a screen to kind of visualize what those are, but what is a premium advertising format, and how does that pertain to a non-premium advertising format?
So I think, we have a massive investment in programmatic technology, which is, using machines to make decisions about what ads to serve. And I think over time, the choice to buy media that way has sometimes been at the expense of great creativity and advertising formats. And so we obviously don't believe those two things should ever be mutually exclusive, but it has somehow the industry, it's hard for the industry to swing in both directions at the same time. And so when we think about premium, we think about things like Riot Studios, virtual reality, augmented reality inside, deep storytelling, so brands as journalists, branded journalism, so to speak, and that coming to life. We also think about deep engagement in commerce, but through a portfolio of beautiful storytelling versus a blinking, flashing standard banner ad. So I don't think the distance ever has to be that far between those two things. Unfortunately, it's just, I think the industry has kind of taken that turn. So, we believe that investment in premium is also a fantastic and important move for brands and publishers to make, particularly with all that's happening around fake news and fake advertising, transparency.
So it's not just the kind of ads that you see at the header of a page and the side of the page, the kind of typical display.
No. Yeah, you should think about them being very focused on heavy investment in video, right?
Yeah.
Heavy investment in as much AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D, motion video as possible. Very custom for mobile, so instead of just migrating a standard ad to mobile, how do you design something for the mobile experience? And what's that duration look like? What's the format? What's the engagement and interactivity? And so we're seeing tremendous results from the early testing, and so it's great to bring it to market.
It sounds like you're almost becoming a bit like an agency. You're kind of guiding marketers to not just buy kind of standard formats. You're helping them. Because I assume most marketers wouldn't know where to turn if they wanted to produce a virtual reality film, for example, or an AR ad.
I mean,
you
it's
have
awesome.
to guide them.
Because we own so many awesome brands and we've made such an investment in brand, we experiment on our brands first and foremost, right? So we almost are like a trial bed for anything we bring to the advertising community. But I'd say our agency client base, which represents obviously our advertiser client base, is some of the most aggressive in pushing us to innovate more. So in many ways, one side of our business is truly being a service provider to ad agencies and their clients, advertisers.
And you were talking about how marketers are, embedding innovation in amongst all their spend. So the old adage used to be something like 80% of your spend was the stuff you've always done, 15% was kind of slightly experimental, and then 5% is totally out there. How's that mix changing? Do you think the kind of savvy marketers swinging that, that 80% further back?
I think it's definitely, I don't think it's swinging to 50%. It's probably at the 70% range. I think what we notice that's different is that it's not the first thing to go, right, in a tight environment. So at the end of the year, or if people are looking to cut budgets, I see an increased protectiveness around, well, we got to be sure we innovate still. Like, if we're going to cut, let's cut from this other place. And we see that in our own marketing. And so I think that is an extremely important thing. I mean, that's front and center for us from a, as a marketer, not just as a company that works with marketers, to do. And so I don't think you'll see that shift for some time.
Sure. So what does your split look like as a marketer at AOL?
Well, we have, at AOL, we have a very high threshold for change, as you know. We tend to do quite a lot at once. And we have a very high threshold for risk. And so ours is probably closer to that 50-50 range. We also have the benefit.
What does risk look like? What would be the kind of risky trial marketing?
I think our new front last year, for example, was very risky. We're going to take over 3 blocks of South Street Seaport and create an experiential, interactive, augmented reality environment where the competition was really looking at how do we showcase a slate of video, right? That could have not paid off. And it was, not a trivial investment to risk.
I can imagine.
But we're a challenger brand in many ways. So it's important, we spend a lot of time culturally talking about that as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
And do you get a chance at these kind of shows to walk the floors yourself?
I just came back from a tour earlier today with some of our Engadget team. It is, it's unbelievable every year how much, how much changes.
And anything in particular that's caught your eye, or a trend that's caught your eye?
I
know it's early. We're
one
day in officially.
I think the robotics stuff is interesting. And I think the question is, how ready are at what pace and how ready are consumers to accept robotics into their as a replacement to their day-to-day life? I think the stuff that is that's interesting to me in terms of the rate of acceleration is all the AI stuff. So all the artificial intelligence and voice, that is happening faster and seems to be maturing faster, and very similar to the early days of the internet, where people were like, oh, like the internet might catch on, and then all of a sudden it was overnight. It feels like the AI category has the same explosive growth.
Why do you think that's happened with your kind of marketing hat on? What is it that something like Alexa has done that's managed to just lead to this hockey stick growth? I mean, it was such a popular Christmas present, for example, on Google Home.
Right. So I think the same way that when the iPhone entered the market and it was so easy to use, yet so utilitarian and helpful, it's so easy to pop this up in your home and have it add value. And so I think that ease of use and consumer use, it's what's surprising to consumers that they cannot, many can't imagine, my parents, they can't imagine that they can have something that's so sophisticated technologically, yet so easy, just like going to the grocery store for them. And
so you don't need an instruction manual.
And so that usability, as we look at IoT and other things as they develop, that usability is, I think, and the simplicity of that is really key.
And how do you think you can utilize that kind of technology with your brands? I can imagine, you've got so much content. It's just yet another way to be able to deliver and add value.
Yeah, so through the relationship, obviously we're owned by Verizon, and so there's a ton of IoT investment going there. Everything from they have an awesome product called Hum that is tightly connected to IoT within the auto industry. We see any IoT device, any AI device, as a vehicle or carrier for content, which is, only furthers our investment in making sure we have branded content. The same way you all deeply believe in the journalistic point of view and integrity, we believe in that same approach. From whether it's entertainment content, whether it's news content with the Huffington Post, whether it's women's leadership content with Makers, that is, we are all about brands.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so what has the Verizon acquisition kind of afforded the AOL marketing department? Is it a bigger budget? Is it, access to data?
Yeah, I mean,
people?
Here's what I would say. I think for us, overall at AOL, being part of Verizon has been, it's been more fuel in our tank, right? Not just resource, but most importantly, when we look at their assets combined with our assets, so whether it's mobile devices, whether it's data from those devices, whether it's the content partnerships that Verizon has at a FiOS level, NFL, NBA, or whether it's partnerships that Verizon has at the Go90 level and the new content partnerships and Complex and Awesomeness TV, combined with all that we have in the infrastructure and scale that we have on the digital side, it's such an awesome, everyone goes through different scenarios of acquisitions and we've been a big acquirer of companies over time too.
You're used to it from the other side.
We're used to it from the other side, and sometimes these things go great, sometimes these things don't go so great. It has been
AOL knows that from history.
Yeah, exactly. It has been fantastic. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so, Ali, say we were going to return to CES in 5 years' time, and we'll plonk ourselves down in these chairs again and repeat this interview. Do you think we'll still be talking about smart home, Alexa, AI? What other things do you think are kind of coming along the horizon that you're excited about?
Yeah, I think you'll see almost a divide. So you'll see this establishment, part of my daily life, AI and everything that AI can automate in a way that consumers can handle and want to embrace. I think we'll see that. And then I also think you'll start to see much more of a what's the disconnected environment. Like I do think our society will come back around and say, okay, here's the suite. I think there will become a point of diminishing return at the rate of constant change. Because we are proving as a technology industry we can change much faster than any human wants to change.
Yeah.
And so, it'll be interesting to see our respect for that other side and how we balance it.
Do you mean kind of like the unplugging and just not being away from the screen, as Ariana, your former colleague, I guess, talks about a lot?
Yeah, no, it's funny. I hear her in the back of my head all the time, like,
when
you
you're
should be
picking up
sleeping.
your phone.
Yes, your phone should not be here. Whenever I plugged my phone in last night into the, plug right by the bed.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, that should not be here.
It should be on your phone bed in the
It should be in
other
3
room.
rooms away, and I should just sleep. Yeah.
And last question, Ali, are you an early adopter yourself? I see. Is that a piece of smart?
It is a Fitbit.
There?
Yes.
Okay.
This is out of sheer reaction to the amount of food I consume over holidays. But yes, I am an early adopter, but I resist being always on. It is very. I'm a very intense and a very competitive person. And so when there's constant incoming, I have a very hard time not being on.
Right.
And so I've learned that about myself. I've learned about what type of mother I want to be, what type of friend, how present I want to be. So I'd say I'm an early adopter, but I am running to try to preserve more of my life as well.
So how do you do that? Do you have kind of set, I don't know, phone times, or I'll tweet between this hour and this hour on my lunch break or whatever?
It's funny, it hit me once, whenever you're on an airplane that doesn't have Wi-Fi, like when you land, the world is not ended.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have not been connected, you've not been talking on the phone, everyone seems to have worked out okay. And so, I have a separate work phone from this personal phone.
Yeah.
The people that need to know my personal phone at work know that number. If there is some unbelievable personnel emergency, really, because that would be the only thing that would be, if there's some tragic thing going on, that someone will find me.
Yeah.
And so I do my best when I'm with my girls or when I'm on a date with my husband, which he will see this and say, "You're never on," but I try.
Well, you'll have to now.
Yeah, I'll have to now. I leave that phone at home. I leave the work
Yeah.
phone at home, and that's the only way I can do it. Some
Sure.
people have the discipline. I don't. If it's with me, I'm on it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Ali, thank you so much for
Thank
joining us in the
you.
C-Space.
It's so great to see you.
Absolutely great to have you, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Happy New Year. Let
Happy
it
New
be a great year.
Yeah, here's on 17. Brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks.